The Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Professor Edmund Burke, will now open the ceremony.
Graduands and guests, as Deputy Vice-Chancellor of the University and by the authority of the Senate and the Council, I declare this congregation open for the conferring of degrees on candidates both present and absent. A very warm welcome to you all, and now please be seated. Graduands and guests, hello and welcome. Let me start by offering my congratulations to all of our graduands for reaching this important moment in your lives. You are unique, the first cohort to be graduating in our new century. The university this year celebrates its 100th birthday, and what better way than our first in-person graduation ceremonies since January 2020. Today marks an end and a new beginning, a significant milestone in your lives. As you process across the stage, you transition from graduand to graduate, and with this new status, acquire new letters after your name. But you've gained far more than that. Along with a world-class education, you've been enriched by new experiences, new friendships, and new hopes for your future. Today is a day for collective celebration of your triumph and achievement, to mark with friends and family, a day that will live long in your memories. It's all about you today, your successes, your new beginnings, your future. You've lived through unprecedented times and have succeeded despite all the challenges. The global pandemic has placed extraordinary pressures. The future is not predictable, and it's been a steep learning curve for us all. But you have demonstrated that you are adaptable, agile and resilient. These qualities will stand you in good stead in the years ahead as you make your mark upon the world. You are citizens of change, individuals who do not simply withstand change, but embrace it. With a Leicester degree, you have the opportunity to make a beneficial impact upon the world. I urge you to go out there and make a difference. You should be proud of the contributions that your university has made, including in combating the pandemic. I mentioned that we are 100 years old as a university. We were founded in the wake of the First World War as a symbol of hope, where higher education brought people together after an unprecedented global conflict to forge a brighter future. That hope burns as brightly today as it always did. Throughout that period, through our research, teaching, and public engagement, we have had a transformative impact upon society. Generations of students have graduated. We've created new opportunities, made pioneering discoveries, and helped to shape the world. Now, you are the future. You are ambassadors of a new era for the university, and you carry with you a proud legacy. As you make your mark, so will the university. Our success and future reputation will be influenced by your achievements. We're already proud of you, and I'm sure you will make us prouder still. To quote American poet and civil rights activist Maya Angelou, I encourage you to live with life. Be courageous, adventurous. Give us a tomorrow more than we deserve. I'd like to encourage you to applaud, cheer, and celebrate the success of your peers. You should make some noise and show your appreciation for the achievement of you all. You've been on an extraordinary journey to get here today. So make it count, and let's have a very, very big round of applause and a very loud cheer for all our graduates. Thank you. I'm going to leave you with some words from Sir David Attenborough. Sir David needs little introduction, and his family had a long association with this university. Indeed, he lived and grew up on campus and has visited us often. On the occasion of one visit, he said,
"This university has a wonderful reputation for humanity, for culture, for generosity, as do the citizens of this ancient and noble city. It is a proud boast that I have that I was reared on this campus. It is a wonderful university. I feel it in my blood, and I'm truly privileged to be here at this epoch-making event, launching yet a new enterprise and generosity from you, the citizens of this city."
Sir David is the epitome of a citizen of change, one who has publicly said that real success can only come if there is a change in our societies and in our economics and in our politics. So once again, I offer you my warmest congratulations on this very, very special day. Enjoy every moment with your family and friends. Thank you.
Deputy Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the College of Social Sciences, Arts and Humanities, I, Professor Sally Kidd, present the following candidates for their awards. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Amira Abdu. Just go downstairs now.
Thank you.
Victoria Ball. Charlotte Barrett. Rory Booth. Melvin Joss. Meredith Lane. Georgina Lockton. Sana Rahim. Alexander Thomas. Christina Wright. Anna Shabori. For the degree of Master of Education, Thomas Bonsell. Charlotte Carter Lang. David Dale. Lara Ostel. Samantha Payne. Marianne Quincy. Christopher Shaw. Sarah Thomas. Megan van Brugel. Michelle Young. For the degree of Master of Research in History, Stephen Burke. For the degree of Master of Laws, Nikisha Thakur. For the degree of Master of Laws in Employment Law, Paul Cox Stone. Daniel Holland. Remy Ligeka. Magdalena Mikolajczak. For the degree of Master of Laws in International Business and Corporate Law, Periklis Maniatis. For the degree of Master of Laws in International Commercial Law, Sergius Miziorski. For the degree of Master of Laws in International Human Rights Law, Hannah Black. Sin E. Chen. Simal Desai. Rachel Elder. Dervis Fethi. Eleftheria Pavlou. Jessica Shipley. Maisie White. For the degree of Master of Laws in International Law, Amal Hilwani. Jessica Rose. For the degree of Master of Arts in Applied Linguistics and TESOL, Jacqueline Peterson. Charmaine Stone. For the degree of Master of Arts in Archaeology and Heritage, Joanne Olben. For the degree of Master of Arts in Art, Museum and Gallery Studies, Chloe Bell. Narting Chan. Kiwen Chen. Yiting Chow. Laura Conniff. Bethany Green. Isabel Jones. Alison Maltby. Eduardo Rossi. Sung-Suk Seo. Alice Whitehead. For the degree of Master of Arts in Digital Media and Society, Zaid Al-Subayi. For the degree of Master of Arts in Global Media and Communication, Likadia Valoy. For the degree of Master of Arts in History, Lauren Chawner. Anna Dearden. Megan Duncoombe. Robert Meller. For the degree of Master of Arts in History, Holocaust and Genocide Studies, Ryan Thomsett. Connor Turnbull. For the degree of Master of Arts in History, Local History, Thomas Nixon Roworth. For the degree of Master of Arts in History, Urban History, John Joe Maudsley. Nicholas Watson. For the degree of Arts in Human Rights and Global Ethics, Amanpreet Buller. For the degree of Master of Arts in Intelligence and Security, Glenn Smith. For the degree of Master of Arts in International Education, Madeleine Di Martino. Chloe Green. Susanna Guzman. For the degree of Master of Arts in International Relations and World Order, Leah Cottrell. Charlotte Langdon Clintz. Maritza Quinones Ardila. David Woolley. For For the degree of Master of Arts in Mass Communications, Mi Cray Turson. For the degree of Master of Arts in Media and Advertising, Calum Campbell. Han Ying Zhao. For the degree of Master of Arts in Media and Public Relations, Louise Bernardon. Isa Kusal. Yao Huang. GIK. Angel Lau. Paula Stolwood. Ginny Wu. For the degree of Master of Arts in Media, Culture and Society, Emma Cook. Kaylin Hillicord. Samuel Hodgson. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I present to you this academic colleague who has been nominated for a University Distinguished Teaching Fellowship. Dr. Katie Bunning is awarded for her commitment to improving accessibility and inclusivity, both with the School of Museum Studies and across the university. Dr. Bunning shows exceptional commitment and focus in her work and promotes a strong and values-led approach to leading and teaching with a keen focus on diversifying our student base and on the genuine accessibility of our curriculum.
Deputy Vice-Chancellor, as public orator, may I present Louise Doughty, a candidate for an honorary degree. Louise Doughty was born in the Leicestershire market town of Melton Mowbray, which is famous for pork pies and hunting rather than for its contributions to literature. She was educated at Oakham School in nearby Rutland, which has produced many worthy contributors to public life, but not, until now, many successful novelists. Louise did not come from a literary background. Indeed, she and her siblings were the first members of her family to go to university. The family had Romany origins. Her great-grandfather on her father's side was the last generation living on the road. Her father had left school at 13, but he was a firm believer in the value of education and studied externally in later life, achieving a PhD in his 50s. Her mother was a full-time housewife. Louise read enthusiastically as a child, thanks to the local public library. Her future career path was signposted at the early age of 11, when she wrote her first novel, Billy Mustang, about a tribe of horses in the American Midwest. She has said herself this was a distinctly odd choice for a child who was terrified of animals and had never left the East Midlands in her life. After school, she went to the University of Leeds, where she read English literature. She then joined the famous MA course in creative writing at the University of East Anglia, where one of her tutors was the novelist Malcolm Bradbury, a graduate and honorary graduate of this university. It was the first time she had ever met a living writer. Leaving university, Louise moved to London, where she held a number of secretarial temping jobs. These provided the background for her first novel to be published, Crazy Paving, a black comedy, in 1995, some 20 years after that first Billy Mustang. Her third novel, Honeydew, revisited Rutland with a satirical version of the English rural murder mystery. Louise has said that she needs what she calls a big bang moment, a point often quite late in thinking about and sketching out a novel, when something happens that feels like a big bang and the novel coalesces, comes into being. Then she may be able to take her laptop to a local cafe, order a large cappuccino, and get stuck in. There have certainly been a lot of those critical moments since the publication of those early novels. Crazy Paving was followed a year later by Dance With Me, then Honeydew in 1998. Louise's Romany background is important to her and was explored in her next two novels, Fires in the Dark, about the mass murder of Romany people by the Nazis during the Second World War, and Stone Cradle, a portrait of a Romany family's struggles in 19th century Britain. These and her other books are characterized by scrupulous research which they carry lightly. You believe fully in the people, their stories, and their settings, however remote they are from the reader's experience. Her books are also distinguished for their portraits of women, often in harrowing circumstances, driven to make morally ambiguous decisions in the face of their difficult and distressing situations. Though thought-provoking, they are not always a comfortable read. Whatever You Love, published in 2010, is an account of a woman's response to the death of her daughter in a hit-and-run accident, and was shortlisted for a Costa Book Award. Apple Tree Yard, 2013, adapted for the BBC in 2017 with Emily Watson, is a tense story of secrets, betrayal, and complicity in violence in contemporary Britain, and was described by Hilary Mantel as a compelling and bravely written book. Demonstrating that Louise cannot be pigeonholed, this was followed by Black Water, now with a male central character and based on the mass killings in Indonesia in the 1960s. This was nominated as a New York Times Notable Book of 2016. Her most recent novel, Platform 7, sees her come closer to home, in that it is set in Peterborough Station. With elements of a ghost story, one reviewer has described it as simultaneously a gripping thriller and a reminder of the complex and unpredictable ways in which both violence and kindness ripple out and transform us all. If there are aspiring novelists in the audience today, and there surely are several, then Louise, despite her success, has not forgotten you. Her book, A Novel in a Year, A Novelist's Guide to Being a Novelist, based on a popular column in the Daily Telegraph, looks at different aspects of writing, with exercises to help the reader gain confidence and develop their technique, and above all, designed to be read painlessly, a chapter a week. Not surprisingly, a person who can write popular, challenging, and critically acclaimed novels and analyze the process of writing is also in much demand as a critic and a reviewer. Louise presented the BBC Radio 4 programme A Good Read for several years. She has been a judge for numerous awards, including the Man Booker and the Costa Book of the Year. Having been a novelist of note for nearly 3 decades, This year will see the broadcast of her first original drama series for BBC television. But she still finds time to promote her favourite charities as a trustee of the National Literacy Trust and a council member of the Royal Society of Literature. And she was instrumental in setting up a diversity scholarship at the University of East Anglia, so that students from underrepresented communities may follow in her footsteps. The first honorary Doctor of Letters degree this university ever awarded was to E.M. Forster, one of Louise's favourite 20th century authors. That was in 1958. Since then, many other leading novelists have been honoured, including Doris Lessing, Iris Murdoch, and Vikram Seth. Today, Louise Doughty rightly takes her place in that illustrious company. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate and the Council, I present Louise Doughty that you may confer upon her the honorary degree of Doctor of Letters.
Thank you, Orator. Mr. President and Vice-Chancellor, thank you, Senate and Council, for this tremendous honour. And thank you to all of you for being here today, for the journeys you've made. As someone who often spends the entire working day in her dressing gown, I can vouch for how sometimes it's quite hard to leave the house. In 2008, as you've just heard, I was one of a panel of judges for the Booker Prize for Fiction, chaired by a former government minister and including some of the most illustrious names in contemporary letters. The prize was won by Aravind Adiga that year, a worthy winner who we all greatly admired. But before we got to that stage, there was much fierce debate about the merits or demerits of many of the entries. And during one particularly passionate discussion, one of the other judges made a remark, I forget what now, that I disagreed with quite profoundly. "Bollocks to that," I remarked. A short silence fell. Then one of the other judges glanced around the table and remarked, "You can take the girl out of the East Midlands, but you can't take the East Midlands out of the girl." He was quite right too. There have been a few occasions in literary London where a bit of East Midlands grit has stood me in good stead. A writer's career is full of ups and downs, good reviews and bad, prizes and disappointments, often for the same book, and long, long stretches of sitting in a room on your own in the aforementioned dressing gown, making stuff up. Arguably not a normal way to earn a living. But then, as Kingsley Amis once put it, the art of novel writing is the art of applying the seat of one's trousers to the seat of one's chair. In other words, knuckling down to it, having some grit. My father, who left school at 13, as you heard, had enough grit to surface the M1 from top to bottom. His mother's family were Romany travellers. His father's father had grown up in a workhouse where he went by the name of Pauper 57. It may have taken my father until his 50s to get his PhD, but if it had taken him until the end of days, he would have done it. To him I owe, along with much else, an acute sense that persistence is everything. Many of you here are at the beginning of your careers. I would hazard a guess that whatever line you have chosen, persistence is going to be of vital importance to you too. In the lovely speech you've just heard, it was particularly pleasing to me that Professor Malcolm Bradbury was mentioned, as you've heard, a graduate of this university, but also someone like me who did not come from a literary background, but nonetheless believed passionately that writing fiction was a skill that could be learned in the company of other writers and worthy of academic seriousness. His achievements are well known, But what's less well known is that he was born with a heart condition that back in those days meant patients often did not survive beyond their teens. Yet he went on to write some of the best-loved novels of his day and found an entire academic discipline. My greatest hope for you all here today is that whatever you go on to do, you discover the grit inside, the self-belief necessary to cope with whatever ups and downs you encounter. Wherever you come from, whatever you call yourself, however you identify, never let anybody tell you you are not worthy of a seat at the table. You're here today because you've worked hard. You've earned your degrees and the applause of everybody in this room. Many of you have come from far and wide to study here, but along with receiving your degrees today, I hereby anoint you Honorary East Midlanders. Congratulations on a terrific achievement. Go out into the world feeling every bit as proud of yourself as you deserve. And if anyone ever tries to make you feel lesser or smaller, you know what to say to them, don't you? Bollocks to that.
Pro-Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the College of Social Science, Arts and Humanities, I, Professor Krista Kalman, present the following candidates for their awards. For the degree of Master of Arts in Museum Studies, Laura Bailey. Charlotte Barry. Amy Beaumont. Samuel Bodley. Hui-Ching Odelia Chung. Sarah Doughty. Skye Finley. Paul Finnegan, Abigail Foster, Sophie Good, Bryony Goodwin, Molly Haley, Alexandra Halley, Lucia Kelly, James Knowles, Dontoi Lowe, Paige Manning, Hannah McElroy. Charles Michael. Charlotte O'Connor. Sarah Parker. Grace Prideaux. Kate Robertson. Helen St. John Moss. Xinmin Wang. Zijian Wong. Rachel Watsley. Darcy Willett. Tenzin Yudran. For the degree of Master of Arts in Politics of Conflict and Violence, Matthew Rosberton. For the degree of Master of Arts in TESOL, Zening Zhang. For the degree of Master of Arts in Urban Conservation, Tyler Barton. For the degree of Master of Science in Crime, Justice and Psychology, Julia Belcheek. Christiana Bjarnson. Sophia Haralambous. Catherine Cook. Skylar Hayes. Megan Hook. Elena Jeffrey. Charlotte Kirby. Jasmine Latham. Tarilo Princess Maralskinikia. Tanya Messam. Emily Owen. Chloe Ross. Megan Smart. Bethany Wood. For the degree of Master of Science in Criminology, Eleni Giavidri. Ryan Lee. Favour Oti. James Perkins. Amy Pickering. Isla Semple. For the degree of Master of Science in Educational Leadership, Sandra Glasgow. Deirdre O'Donnell. For the degree of Master of Science in Museum Studies, Sokaini Jamaraki. Jonathan Kimmel. Maria Loka Mortensen. Asifa Banu Patel. For the degree of Master of Science in Security and Risk Management, Stuart Foulds. Craig Poynton. Stephen Wood. For the degree of Master of Science in Terrorism, Security and Policing, Roslyn Baddy. Jacob Brown. Edward Else. Grace Fisher. Russell Garcia. Lisa Green. Lydia Griffin. Lauren Hampton. Nadia Hassan. Victoria Jedinak. Lydia Lambert. Kevin Lee Marokas. Bethany Marshall. Chloe Payton. Rhiannon Thomas. Fanlola Tijani. Josie Tremlett. Tom Ward. For the postgraduate diploma in employment law, Taranjit Laria. For the degree of Master of Science in Terrorism, Security and Policing, Katie Williams. For the postgraduate diploma in Socially Engaged Practice in Museums and Galleries, Jennifer O'Sullivan. For the postgraduate certificate in Learning Technologies, June Filetti. For the postgraduate certificate in Teaching English for Academic Purposes, Simon Palmer. For the Arts Foundation degree in Security and Risk Management, Scott Hassan. For the degree of Master of Science in Terrorism, Security and Policing, Josh Bowles. For the degree of Master of Science in Crime, Justice and Psychology, Brian Akara. And for the postgraduate certificate in law, Ingana Cabral de Almada.
The President of the Students' Union, Rhiannon Jenkins, will now address the congregation.
First of all, congratulations. No one else will ever know what it took as a student during the pandemic to get here, whether you're graduating now, on time, or a few years later than expected. It's not just something to be proud of, it's something to shout from the rooftops about. Along the way, you'll have made memories and friends to last a lifetime, which we hope you'll look back on fondly. And remember, graduation isn't a goodbye to those friends, but rather a welcome to the fantastic Leicester alumni community, which will always be here to welcome you wherever you go and whatever you do. Everything you've been through, from hours in the David Wilson, bus journeys from Oadby to make that 9 a.m, online lectures with no cameras on, standing in line for a bagel or a Starbucks, staring at the blackboard screen, waiting for that confirmation page, singing along to Angels, society meetings over pizza, soggy days up at Stoughton, exams in the sports hall, or even the big shed. These are the experiences that have got you here, ready to step into the graduate world and do brilliant things. So, as Minor Mayors Jr. said, go into the world and do well, but most importantly, go into the world and do good. As the newest members of Leicester's global alumni community, we know you will. Thank you and congratulations again.
Graduates of the University of Leicester, it's my honour and pleasure to bring this ceremony to a close. In doing so, I pay tribute once again to you for your splendid achievements, to your families and friends for their support, and to the staff of the university who helped shape your destinies. You're poised to become ambassadors for the university wherever you are in the world. I hope you'll keep in touch and return in the future to support your alma mater and future generations of students. I want to leave you with the words of one of our founders, Dr. Astley Clark. He said, "Every material asset a person possesses may flee. Education alone is an asset of which an individual cannot be robbed." You take with you a treasure trove of memories and friendships that will last a lifetime. Hope for a better future. On behalf of us all at the University of Leicester, I wish you well in your future endeavours. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Graduates and guests, please be upstanding for the final time in this ceremony. Everyone, please join me again in congratulating our class of 2022. I now declare this congregation closed.